demonstration today. My name is Sophie. Sitting close to the house cat. Of course, we are looking our two otters, but we have put them out the back just for a second so that we're able to put these toys around without worrying them about shoving into the box, climbing out the cat or trying to put toys away, or worse, us putting over them with the either. So they happily can go out the back and have a bit of a play in the playground we've made up for them. And then once Cat goes back in, she will open up the hatch and they will come straight back out. Now what Cat's putting out at the moment is some enrichment for these guys. So these toys, you might recognise from your own toy boxes. We can make our own toys, but generally we like to delve into the world of baby toys. Most of them are quite useful for our animals, also animals like our children, so go do that. So these toys have a little bit of leaf and browse inside them and food inside. So it's an easy way of kind of making it harder for them to get their food. Instead of us just simply giving it to them, they have to actually work, forage and find it. So this improves their activity levels, and our otters are very hyperactive little critters, so they do like to move around quite a lot. And also it does encourage natural behaviour. For these guys, it's actually their foraging behaviour, specifically with their little fingers. So the toys have little openings, so they have to actually move around with their dexterous little fingers. And these guys, these small coiled otters, have only partially webbed front feet and fully webbed back feet, so they're able to use their fingers as well as we are. So they're very good at catching food, very good at throwing rocks around. You were here earlier, you would have seen Daisy throw a rock against there. She does like to play handball with herself. So we do sometimes put golf balls out for her. So if you see one of them bouncing golf ball around, that is Daisy. She loves it. Now we have Daisy and Percy. So these guys weigh about 3 to 4 kilograms each, and they eat about 1/3 their body weight per animal per day, so about 1 kilogram of food, which doesn't sound like a whole lot, but it's the equivalent of a 60-kilogram person, so for instance my weight, eating 20 kilograms of food. I don't know about you guys, I don't think I can really do that, each their own, but... So these guys get 1 kilogram of food for a day, and that is perfect for them as an animal. Now, because they're high metabolic rate, we can't just give them all their food in one go. Also, it makes their day quite boring. So we actually feed these guys 8 times a day. So this is their 7th feed, and they're going to be getting 8th feed at the end of the day as we close up. So this is perfect with their foraging behaviour, because they usually spend about 40 to 60% of their day foraging and hunting for food. Now, these guys are getting a reward for a long day of training. So these guys typically are station training. You came to the demo this morning, you would have seen the trainers do that in the morning. So they usually go to allocated spots throughout the exhibit, but we ask them to, and when they do it successfully, they get a food reward. Now, to make it less confusing, we make sure that we allocate a side and a hand to each animal. So Daisy follows all the right-hand side, in the right-hand directions, and Percy goes in the left-hand side, and he goes in the left-hand directions. So they know exactly what to look for. They can't cheat. They know that they can't cheat. But these guys are very smart, so they can get bored of training, and sometimes they will do silly things like Daisy will go down to Percy and tear food from his mouth. Other times Daisy will literally float in the water and just ignore us. These guys are very smart little creatures, so we do try to change up what we do. If they are feeling a bit not too into station training, we can also do what's called crate training. So we get our little pet pack, we open it up, we ask them to go in, they get a food reward, they come out, they get a food reward. Easy, right? It doesn't sound like it's too hard, but for these guys, it's actually training them for the bigger picture, and that's transportation. So if we ever have to move them into the vets for a vet check, we can simply ask them to go in and they'll do it for us. If we need to move them into another exhibit, we can also do that too. Also, we can apply that to the back area. They will easily go into the back area with no program, because they know that we're going to go in and they know they're going to come back out, they know the routine. It means it's easier for us to move them, and it also means that it's less stress for the animal. So training is very important, making sure we ensure a low stress environment for these guys. We can actually train animals to take blood samples too. So it's a very magical world and world of training. But enough about that, let's talk more about these lovely little otters. So these guys are semi-aquatic little otters. So these guys basically spend half the time on water and half the time on land. So this basically makes them great swimmers and great climbers. So these guys have a very good diet as a result. Predominantly they feed on fish and crustaceans they find in water and around the mud and the rocks. That's where their little fingers come in handy. But they could also extend that to land mammals. So they'll go after small mammals on land themselves, but they'll go after something up to double their size if they hunt together in a family. So that kind of blows their horizons a little bit, which is really great. But they have also recorded climbing trees, building a nest, and stealing the egg from the bird's nest in that. So they do have a lot of things that they can do. So they're very adept little creatures. Another thing they do like is clean food. So if you see any of them grab something from the bin with dirt in it, go to the water and wash it. They love to make sure there's no dirt on their food. We do that on purpose, so they do that natural behaviour. They love clean food and they love a clean environment. So these guys are found in the Asia region, usually found in the Philippines and a couple of other places too. And these guys were the habitat of freshwater wetlands and mangrove swamps. So if that environment is not pristine and perfect, they will be absent from that environment. So it gives you a good indication as to how that environment is doing, whether it's polluted too much or fish populations aren't good. It basically means you can tell how well your conservation work is doing on that environment based on whether otters are there or not. So these guys here were actually hunted for quite a while in their environment though, which was quite upsetting. And they were mainly hunted for their meat and pelts, medicinal purposes, and they were taken from their environment for the illegal country. Thankfully, around the 20th century, people at the time were very smart and realised that although their numbers weren't declining to a bad point, they were still declining and they wouldn't be around for long if it kept going. So they decided to put some laws in place. So by 1997, there were some laws protecting them in place, which was really, really good. So it was a good step in the right direction, but a wrong step in the wrong direction, because that meant that these guys they didn't actually enforce the laws to protect them. So people were still hunting them, people were still taking them for pets, and they weren't getting any repercussions, and none of them were actually having any trouble doing it at all. But that's when security for overseas charities came into play. So many zoos do go on overseas charities because at the end of the day, we want to keep our animals around for years and years to come. So many zoos do have like a little place that you can throw coins and all that. We like to take a different approach. So by coming into the zoo, you're still learning about these animals, but you guys are actually contributing in more ways than you know. So the money going towards your admission ticket, any gifts you bought today and any food, we take a small portion of that profit and we put it back towards either our overseas charities who support it or our local charity, which is our Australian Wildlife Hospital. So our hospital actually provides on donations, so it is enough to actually keep that hospital running, especially during trauma season with all the animals coming through. So if you guys haven't actually gone to visit that, I recommend doing so. It's open till 5:30. So once you're done here, you can go and come check that out and see all the work that nurses do. So thank you so much, guys. That actually makes a huge difference just by coming into the zoo. But that's pretty much the end of the demonstration. I hope you enjoyed seeing these silly chickens basically follow us around as much as they've enjoyed having you. If you have any burning questions, just come right on over to me. I'll be here for a few more minutes if you have questions about the little guys. Other than that, if you are leaving us now, have a safe travel home, and thank you so much for coming and visiting Australia.